A very good evening to you who is following Rwanda Television right now. This is the time for the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. My name is Olive Nete. Let's kick off today's edition with the headlines. On Monday, Rwanda's national carrier RwandaTV launched new flights to Zanzibar and also resumed flights to Mombasa in Kenya. We'll also talk about the newly released annual report of the year 2024-2025 of the National Bank of Rwanda. We hope that you had a good start of the week. Now, let's kick off today's edition. We'll start with the communique from the Office of the Prime Minister. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda, especially in its Article 116 and 112, today, the 1st December 2025, His Excellency the President has made the following appointments. Cabinet members: the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Telesphore Ndabamenye, he is the Minister. Dr. Solange Uwituze is the Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources. In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Usta Kaitesi was made the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Other appointments: Office of the President, retired General James Kabarebe was made the Senior Defense and Security Advisor. In the Senate, Dr. Charles Murigande was made the Senator. This was done today, the 1st December 2025, on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, signed by Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva, the Prime Minister. Moving ahead, on Monday, Rwanda's national carrier RwandaTV launched new flights to Zanzibar and also resumed flights to Mombasa in Kenya. These routes are expected to strengthen Rwanda's trade links, particularly within the East African region. We have details. At 10:11 a.m., for the very first time, the Rwandan Airlines aircraft RwandaTV 9XR-WU took off for Zanzibar Island in Tanzania with 109 passengers on board, including some continuing to Mombasa in Kenya, where RwandaTV has resumed the route it had previously suspended. Passengers traveling to Zanzibar and Mombasa expressed their excitement about the launch of these destinations.
I'm very excited taking my first RwandaTV flight to Zanzibar. I can't wait to see the experience. I was in transit. I had my first flight from Entebbe to Kigali, and it was the best. The customer care is top-notch. The flight was nice. The experience has been very good. I hope to have more. Thank you, RwandaTV.
And I'm very excited as I heard the first flight is going to Mombasa. I was one of the few people who booked very early because I have my family in Mombasa. I keep going almost every like 3 months, 4 months I go to Mombasa. So it was a long hassle going with other flights via other countries. But now when we have a direct flight, it makes our life much easier, and the prices are very fair and reasonable. So it makes also the journey much more easier and cheaper. So I'm very excited and very happy for the journey, and we thank Rwanda and the crew and everyone for the great service. And we have been traveling with Rwanda for many years, but this would be a very good experience to fly directly to Mombasa. We really appreciate for all that.
So I'm very excited because it's going to be my first time to be there, and I feel like I would enjoy, because since RwandaTV is almost part of us. You know me, I come from Uganda. They're like sisters and brothers. We are the same. So I'm excited. The cleanliness is okay, the hygiene, the cabin crew, they are welcoming, they're hospitable. So I love the whole experience, yes.
Rwanda's management says that Zanzibar and Mombasa are important destinations, as explained by Rwanda's Acting Chief Operations Officer, Mushi Ernest.
We are happy today to launch a Zanzibar destination. It's a very good destination that we wish to operate a long time ago. But today, it's a milestone to our company, and we are happy that even our clients, our customers, are very happy. So it's going to boost our network from in the region, East Africa, West, South, and even UK, as well as Europe. So today we are commencing a schedule that has 4 flights a week, which is going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So it's going to be a very good network, and we are happy to welcome all the passengers and our clients to Zanzibar and Mombasa.
These flights, which will operate 4 times a week, bring to 22 the total number of destinations served by RwandaTV. Still on these resumed flights and new flights, this Monday in Mombasa, Kenya, RwandaTV resumed its flights that it last operated there in 2019, once again creating opportunities for business people and tourists. The return of the airline is expected to boost trade and tourism between Rwanda and the coastal city of Mombasa. Travelers will now have more convenient options for travel, which could lead to increased economic activity and stronger regional connections. The resumption of flights also reflects growing confidence in the region's recovery and development prospects.
It's a moment of pride. That was, I would have wished to think, a very small suspension during COVID 2019 to now. But lasted a bit too long for our markets, lasted a bit too long for our customers. But we're very happy to be here. And why we are here? Very simply, doing that job of connecting communities, connecting markets, doing our civil responsibility work, about ensuring that, the Great Lakes region, the Central African region has that access to the sea and has that primary access to the sea that through our friends in Kenya, our friends, as you saw half an hour earlier in Tanzania, we're able to make.
Her Excellency Jeanette Mawasi Oben, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Kenya to the Republic of Rwanda, notes that this development will significantly improve trade, business and tourism within the East African community.
This route is very, very important for Kenya because we've been actually looking forward to having a direct route to Mombasa because Mombasa is one of our biggest tourist destinations. So it will increase tourism and trade as well. And also we've been talking about EAC integration. We'll have people moving within the region. So for those 3 reasons, this route is very, very critical for us.
Now to Rwanda's financial sector, the National Bank of Rwanda has released its 2024-2025 annual report, revealing that Rwanda's gross domestic product grew by 6.3%, driven mainly by strong performance in the services sector, which expanded by 8.9%. Enora Gladys reports.
Presenting the report to both chambers of parliament, BNR Governor Soraya Koziyaremye outlined the key drivers of growth, noting that services, agriculture and industry recorded the highest increase. She added that the pressure from the depreciation of the Rwandan franc has begun to ease thanks to measures taken by the central bank.
Umwaka w'ingengo y'imari ibihumbi 2024 ibihumbi 2025 tugereranyije n'idolari ry'Amerika.
In the 2024-2025 fiscal year, the Rwandan franc depreciated by 9.7% against the US dollar. However, this level of depreciation is lower than what was recorded in the previous fiscal year, 2023-2024. Looking at market performance from January to September, the pressure on Rwandan franc has eased, with depreciation standing at 4.2%. We expect that by the end of the year, the overall depreciation will have further declined. This improvement is largely attributed to policy measures, particularly the prohibition of requesting payments in foreign currency and the reforms implemented in May. Another contributing factor is the performance of the US dollar on international markets. In 2025, the dollar was weakened against other major global currencies as the advantages associated with the US Federal Reserve's monetary policy have diminished.
The
report also shows that the country's inflation rate stood at 5.7% during the fiscal year. Governor Koziyaremye further highlighted persistent challenges in national savings, noting that Rwanda is still below its target, which requires at least 25% of GDP to come from domestic savings.
When
you compare the total savings of Rwandans to the country's GDP, we see that Rwanda is still far from reaching its target of having at least 25% of GDP come from domestic savings. Currently, the rate stands at only 14%. This means we must continue strengthening efforts to sensitize the population about the importance of saving. At the same time, it is essential to further develop the stock exchange as it provides opportunities for people to access investment products that allow for long-term saving. we need to increase the market's capacity while also improving its overall performance. Additionally, expanding the number of people employed in the formal sector is crucial, since formal employment gives individuals more structured opportunities to save, particularly for retirement. On a positive note, the use of digital payment technologies continued to grow significantly. During the 2024-2025 fiscal year, digital payment penetration rose to 211%, while financial inclusion reached remarkable levels. 92% of adults in Rwanda had an account with a financial institution, and 87.7% used their accounts regularly.
Moving ahead, Rwanda, as part of its commitment to strengthening a solid digital technology policy, continues to invest heavily in the e-cash initiative in order to facilitate faster and more accessible services for citizens. This was highlighted during a press briefing organized on Monday by the RS, which limited a company that provides electronic payment services. Jean-Jacques Kabuga, the chief operating officer, stated that the e-cash system will be officially launched on December 5th of this year.
The switch is a centralized infrastructure which play a role of facilitating movement of money between financial institution system. How does that play how does that come together? Maybe let's just give you also a history before then. As we started in 2003, so we've been in the market for the last 22 years, and our role has been mainly partnering with the banks to facilitate interconnection between them from a card payment, and that's where we really started as a business. But when I say card payment, to make it even easy for maybe everyone to understand, you use Visa, you use MasterCard, you use SmartCash. SmartCash is our proprietary product. So we have a scheme, this is a national product, this is a national card, which we offer to customers, banks customers to use and transact. But again, having that centralized switch, we connect bank system to be able to accept those cards at their terminal, so that as a customer, you don't need to worry about transacting limited to only the ATMs or POS of your bank. Means with any bank's card that is issued, you can transact anywhere. That's what we are calling interoperability, facilitating customers to transact anywhere.
Moving ahead, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources has announced that starting January 2026, it will begin implementing projects to support residents of Kayonza district in irrigating over 2,400 hectares. These initiatives aim to provide sustainable solutions to recurring drought issues affecting some sectors near Akagera National Park. Pordev Kayonza is one of the companies that has secured more than 300 hectares of land along the shores of Lake Ihema in Ndengo sector, Kayonza district, where it has invested in agriculture and livestock activities. These operations primarily involve mechanized irrigation over large areas, ensuring that no planting season is lost. However, despite these developments, the situation for ordinary residents remains challenging. Residents of Kayonza district, particularly those in Ndengo, report experiencing prolonged droughts resulting in withered crops such as maize and beans. The community is urging the government to accelerate irrigation efforts as a long-term solution to revive agricultural productivity, especially in areas adjacent to Akagera National Park. Olivier Kamana, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, explains that the government has put in place irrigation projects across various parts of the Eastern Province, with implementation in Kayonza district scheduled to begin in January next year. Eastern Province is widely regarded as the country's bread basket, having benefited from numerous agricultural development projects. Farmers in other parts of the province are optimistic about a successful harvest this planting season. To other matters, former members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have been visiting Rwanda over the past few days have commended the country, describing it as a peaceful, beautiful, and rapidly developing. They shared their impressions on Monday after taking part in a wheelchair basketball match against former Rwanda Defense Forces soldiers who were also injured on the battle. The friendly match brought together veterans from both countries, all of whom sustained injuries during military services and now compete in adaptive sports. The game ended with Israeli defeating Rwanda 42-24, and Jules Karangirwa, a former RDF soldier, said participating in such sports helps them to avoid isolation and cope with emotional challenges, noting that the continued support they receive shows the country values their service. Itai Adla, a former IDF soldier, expressed joy as being in Rwanda for the match, saying the sport contributes positively to their physical and mental well-being. The Israeli team's coach, Dror Iserov, added that although the athletes faced life-challenging injuries during their military service, sports give them renewed purpose, joy, and motivation to continue moving forward.
Basketball really helps me for my recovery, not only on a physical level, but on a mental level as well. It gives me drive also to work out and also just to be active and work on myself. So basketball gave me a lot.
I found Rwanda a so nice country, and all the citizens we met with were so kind, all the time smiling. They're willing to help us all the time, so we felt like a home here. It's a very warm thing to feel with us, especially in this condition in Israel, that you guys, all the Rwandan people that we met, just like us and make us feel excellent. We like it very much, and we want to thank you, each one of them, that help us to have a wonderful week. We saw Rwanda, so pretty country, it's so green, everything is growing so nice.
Bizimana Dominique, the president of the Rwanda Paralympic Committee, said the event showcases Rwanda's commitment, particularly through its armed forces, to promoting sports for persons with disabilities. The activities were organized by the Embassy of Israel in Rwanda as part of a week-long visit during which the veterans toured various sites, including the Kigali Genocide Memorial in Gisozi, Volcanoes National Park, and other key locations. Moving ahead, the Ministry of Health affirms that it is going to intensify campaigns aimed at encouraging young people to protect themselves against the HIV/AIDS, while also urging everyone to play a role in fighting it. On this December 1st, Rwanda marked the World AIDS Day. Enora Gladys has the report.
The national celebration of this day took place at Kinyinya Health Center in Gasabo district, where various institutions visited areas that provide HIV-related services, as well as places where awareness campaigns are conducted. The Ministry of Health highlighted the progress made in preventing mother-to-child transmission of HIV, noting that over 99% of pregnant women living with HIV take antiretroviral medication. This has contributed to reducing the rate of children born with HIV to below 2% since 2015. Some people living with HIV say that proper adherence to antiretroviral treatment has played a significant role in this reduction. My child, whom I gave birth to while I was living with HIV, is now 15 years old. I protected him so that he would have no problems, and I adhered to medication properly, breastfeeding them safely for 6 months. I was blessed that among all the 11 children I gave birth to, not a single one became infected, because I took precautions, followed the doctor's advice, and used every possible method to prevent transmission. The chairperson of the Rwanda Network of People Living with HIV RRP+, Sylvie Muneza, appreciates the support that people living with HIV continue to receive from the government and its partners, and she assures that they will continue to safeguard the progress that has been achieved. We cannot achieve this on our own, so we ask for your cooperation and support so that by 2030, discrimination and death caused by AIDS will be history in our country.
bizaba ari amateka muri iki gihugu cyacu.
The Rwanda Biomedical Center reports that HIV infections among young people have increased, reaching 2.7% among those aged 15 to 49, with more than 234,000 people currently living with the virus. Dr. Basil Ikuzo, the head of the HIV/AIDS division at RBC, notes that everyone's cooperation is needed.
Looking
at the numbers, out of 2,500 people, the most affected are young people, and it appears that 2,500 are the ones who die from the virus that cause AIDS. As has been observed, there are many factors that put young people at risk, including limited knowledge about the virus that causes AIDS or not accessing services as required. Currently, what we are doing, as the theme suggests, is encouraging young people to find solutions to fight the virus that causes AIDS. This involves supporting youth both in schools and at home, as well as trying to deliver messages to them and guiding them on where they can access services to prevent and combat the virus that causes AIDS. RBC also shows that among key population at high risk of infection, progress has been made. For example, among sex workers, HIV prevalence dropped from 51% in 2010 to 35.2% in 2023, while among men who have sex with men, prevalence decreased from 6.9% in 2021 to 5.8% in 2024.
The end of today's bulletin. Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us throughout the edition. Keep following RwandaTV's program. We hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.